It's that time again. Time for building things and organized chaos. Now at the moment, my workshop looks like this. So with a quick wave of a wand, I'll convert it from woodworking ground zero to somewhere I can actually do metalwork in, because that's what's happening today. So what's on the menu for today? Bed frames. I bet you're definitely not getting sick of seeing that intro. So as this is going to be the most marvelous troop carrier to ever grace the face of the earth, I need to think of a way to switch it up a little bit. So how am I going to do that? So most troop carrier conversions have the bed on the right side of the car, but I'm going to put it on the left. There's a lot of foreshadowing here, so you'll have to watch the rest of the series to see how this goes. Anyway, let's talk about this plan. These things are called floor sofas. They're sofas that go on the floor. It's basically a sofa with no legs that folds flat. You're supposed to lie on them this way, but that's too ordinary. Now it turns out, if you get two of these, and lie perpendicular to how you're supposed to, you essentially get a double bed. Who knew? So I'll be building a frame to support all of this out of 20mm square hollow section. That's square tube to most of you. But first things first, this thing needs planning. And my silly little drawings in episode 1 aren't as precise as I'd like them to be. So how tall and how long is this platform going to be? So I'm going to determine the height by sitting on the wheel arch and sitting up straight. Similarly to if you're getting your school photo taken or you're a manlet being measured. Now the goal here is to be able to sit comfortably without my head hitting the roof. Now I'm 190 centimeters tall, which means that if I can fit, then the majority of the population can fit. And if you're that much taller than me, you'll probably be spending all your money on specialist clothing rather than camping. So let's get started. So as it turns out, I need to build a 1900 by 570 by 250. So let's start chopping and sticking metal, I guess. So now I just have to make 4 more of those. I figured I'd offer it up first because this is one of those situations where I don't want to be making this twice. So I'll make 4 of these little frames. 1 to go here, 1 to go here, and then the same on the other side of the wheel arch. Moving on. Just want to point out that I used 4 meters of steel for this. And that's how much was left at the end. I quite like how efficiently this is all going. So as per usual, it's time to prep it and weld it together. And then make sure it fits, because that might be quite helpful. Well, that was a bit tedious, wasn't it? Now I'm suffering from white finger and I have to do a lot of welding. So it's time for that. So that's the majority of the welding done. I just need to take some measurements around the wheel arch, and then I can start making it a little bit more permanent. Oh, I just forgot that I have to make 2 of these, so now I'm making another one. So that's about 75% done now. All I have to do now is worry about the 4th piece, because that's out by the battery box, and that's probably going to give me some troubles. Let's find out why. Now as you can see, the floor here dips down. And the length that I want the bed to be goes about here. So I've got to bridge this gap somehow. I'll also have to do a bit of work in this corner to level the floor so everything's sitting in the right place. So I'll get everything in, get it welded, and then I'll be able to make some spacers where I see fit. Now, other than cosmetics, this framey thing is pretty much done. Now I know they say, fuck off autofocus thing. Now I know they say if you have to grind a weld, it's not a very good weld. Well, I'm not good at welding. And if I don't grind the welds, whatever I put on top of this isn't going to sit flush. So I grind my welds. Now to make it fit, I'm going to have to extend these legs. This one needs to go 92 millimeters, and this one needs to go 19. And hopefully that'll be the last welding of the day, because I'm getting fed up of it. So I need to think about this with a non-tired brain, because it wouldn't be the best thing in the world if I welded the wrong extension onto the wrong leg. Now that I've thought about it, I'd better attach them. So let's try again to see if I've monumentally screwed up. So it fits marvelously, and it doesn't rock around at all, which means that some of my measurements might have been somewhat accurate. So let's find out a little bit more about how this is going to look when it's a bit more complete. Now hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea about what I'm trying to achieve with this. I might actually make this platform a little bit shorter because I think I might not have accounted for the thickness of the platform and sofa cushions, but it'll turn into a bed that's 190 long by flipping these out. And obviously there's a lot more stuff that I need to build to make that happen. So what's next, I hear you cry? Well, all this under-seat space here is going to be sealed off for storage, and I'll be turning these wood panels into some fold-out cupboards. I'll be making a structure similar to the bed frame, and then a table will go in the middle. Now the table is where things get a little bit more interesting, and we're not going to talk about that yet. And as I choose to seal myself away from the world because making YouTube videos is horrendously embarrassing, I've essentially turned my workshop into a gas chamber. So I'm going to go home and get some fresh air.